Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 1st of September 2021 and the time now is 6:17 a.m. Well, today our topic is what if an analogy goes wrong? Right, so before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Okay. So firstly, for analogy, um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Before that, I want to ask you two very very silly questions. Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay,
first,
okay. Yeah.
how do you define analogy? And second, how do you define wrong?
Oh, okay. Um, Firstly, for analogy, it is something like comparison. We use something. We use the technique of comparison between one thing and another, and then for the purpose of explaining something or understanding something.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
try to put we try to put one. So we try to put two or more than two things, which
Mm.
is in short, we can say we try to put more than one thing together in order to understand one thing more easily, so
Mm-mm.
or more comprehensive. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that um, maybe the understanding come from similarity, maybe the understanding come from differentiation. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So the second question, how to define wrong in
Mm.
this case?
Um, okay, for your mention silly question, I don't think this is silly, and because I know that for my topic maybe uh um I used the word wrong maybe it's not that suitable. Yep. For here, I just want to uh I just want to refer to um some uh some usage of analogy, which is kind of uh, uh, which is kind of distorted. It is actually not something that it is a bad analogy, but uh, it depends on the user what kind of purpose they want to use the analogy. So I assume that the original purpose of analogy is um, really want to explain something, and uh, they focus on one maybe similarity, and then they want to explain to you uh, a particular thing. And when it goes wrong is because some people maybe they want to persuade you, or they want to distort your mind so that they use some particular analogy. Yeah, so this
Mm.
is what I mean wrong here. It is not something like it is a fair analogy. No, it is something like use it in another way, trying to distort people. It because originally I think this analogy, the purpose of analogy is help you to understand something. But if people use it in the opposite way, help you to misunderstand something. Yeah, this is what I want to say and use the word wrong.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so just now we have talked about the definition of analogy, and for for a for a proper analogy, for a, a useful analogy, I think it helps in our thinking process in terms of understanding and maybe imagine something more easily. And then it is powerful. It can also be persuasive. Yeah. Um, just now I already talked about what does it mean wrong here. So if it goes wrong, I think it can also be powerful. For example, um, I saw a video. I watched a video before, which they are American, but I don't know who they are. I hope they are not politician. They're actually trying to compare COVID-19 and obesity. They used obesity as an analogy, trying to tell us that we don't have to focus so much on COVID-19 because obesity is is a more serious issue in many countries, and also many people die because of obesity every year. And if you look into the number of deaths due to obesity, it can be more serious than COVID-19 earlier on. I'm not sure for now, but earlier on. And then, yeah, if you compare these two things, and this analogy is actually, they use it in the wrong way. They are trying
Mm.
to distort your mind. And I think the main problem of this example is COVID-19 is contagious, but obesity,
What is
may not.
contagious?
It means that it is a disease. It can spread to others.
Yeah,
Obesity,
transmissive.
yeah, yeah, transmissible. Yeah, I don't know whether we got
Yeah,
this
yeah.
word.
Mm.
Yeah, and then for obesity, if you can say if you say it is not transmissible or not contagious, totally, I think we shouldn't use totally because we know obesity you may affect your friend circle. People will become uh, maybe fatter, making friends with you or be with you for a long time. Yeah, maybe, but not that direct. It is not so contagious or transmissible comparing to COVID-19. So um, that person want to tell us that we don't have to put so much effort. We don't have to trace the COVID-19 patient. Uh, but that I think that wasn't a good way to do. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the analogy he used is going to the opposite direction, wanted to persuade us,
Mm.
distort our mind.
Yeah. Another problem is
Mm,
when you got when you got obesity, you actually contribute to the economy. When you uh, what I mean is, as more people get obesity, they actually can contribute more to the economy because they need to spend more, they need to consume more,
mm.
no matter if it's a drug, a medical, yeah,
On food.
yeah,
Mm,
maybe they need to eat more expensive food. Mm. And when the people in the country get COVID-19 and more people get COVID-19, it destroyed the economy. But
yeah.
obesity, it improved the economy in some way. Yeah.
Mm,
And if everyone pursue obesity and then everyone get the COVID-19 and our economy was damaged and we will have no money to save obesity.
mm, mm. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, a very good insight. Okay. And then yeah, one more thing is that COVID-19 will overwhelm the hospital, yeah, if the
Yeah.
numbers of patients keep increase. But obesity, they may not, yeah, because maybe they need some drugs, medicine, but they don't have to stay in the hospital 24 hours a day, right? But
Mm.
for some serious COVID-19 patient, they have to do that, and also they need quarantine. So yeah, this is not easy.
Mm.
Yep. And then this is one example, and the other example, which is quite popular. I mean, it's quite common that we will hear this example. For example, they say um, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. They actually dropped it out from Harvard University, and right now they are actually more successful. And then this is actually I also watched from a video, uh, and actually it is quite funny. Um, you know, there was a guy. Uh, she actually used this analogy on the on her speech on the graduation day uh, in one of the university. You know, on the graduation days, they will choose a few students and then to have their speech right on the stage. Yeah, and then there is one guy use this analogy and say that actually uh, university is not so good. Yeah, something like that, and then use this analogy and say that people drop out from university, they are so successful, and people that uh, study in the university and then ended up working for others, being less successful in terms of career. And unfortunately, this guy was being uh, was being uh, caught off in the middle of her speech, and then he was asked to go down the stage. Yeah, she was unable to finish her whole speech. Yeah, and then for this example, it is also using analogy in the wrong way, which they are much more people uh, study university and they are successful. Yeah, but for somebody like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, there are some exceptions, and also uni study or not study university is not may not be the key thing for their success. So for some point, however, if we use some analogy like this, it can distort our mind if we didn't find the logic here.
Mm.
Yep. And then yeah, the last example I want to give is some people say uh, um, you can use this product. You can use this product and then you live healthily, and you can see some people using it. Yeah. For this one actually is also not as so direct cause and effect, right? And
Mm.
people live happily not merely because the products they consume. You can also see some people they live healthily, even though they are smokers for many years. Yeah, so this is also something that a false analogy, and maybe some salesmen or saleswomen they like to use a lot of analogy, trying to distort our mind. So um, okay, so this is one part.
Mm.
Yeah, and then shall I go to the next part?
Uh, Before that, I want to say,
Mm,
this is just some very simple analogy that most of sorry not maybe no not more not most of people, but um, there there are a huge number there are a huge number of people are able to identify
mm,
this is actually a wrong analogy. Yeah,
yeah.
but if I give you some other analogy and
Mm,
to see whether uh, you are able to understand the insight, So maybe to know the implication. For example, the first one. Okay. Since today you talk about cryptocurrency, yeah, I give one of the example related to cryptocurrency. Okay. The statement is cryptocurrency is so volatile and it can't become currency. So it's built. It is built to become currency. Yeah. So how about this statement?
Yeah, this is this is a difficult question for me. I couldn't identify, and I think
the statement is true, right? Because
volatile is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it cannot be the currency. Because I don't know the volatile, whether it will become more stable after some times.
But now it's not stable.
Yeah, for now it is not.
And also maybe in future it will be stable, but it won't stable than the US dollar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, the first thing is it's volatile and it cannot be currency. Here is the question mark.
Yeah.
The first is how to become a currency. For example, you need something fixed value so we can price it. And if we add the features of the Lightning Network, and then you don't need to hold Bitcoin, and you can like just spend your Bitcoin. You can spend your Bitcoin just like spending the US dollar, and the value will transmit to the merchant within a second. So you don't really need to bear the volatility, and the merchant also don't need to bear the volatility. This is the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And second thing, the second thing is the second part, which is Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency is so volatile and it cannot be currency, so it's built. This is a build project. Yeah. If something cannot stable, if something the value cannot be stable, does it mean that it's a build project? Necessarily not, right? Yeah. And also, if it failed to become currency, does it mean that it is a failed project? Yeah. So this is another question, which is what Bitcoin want to do, what Bitcoin want to achieve. Maybe Bitcoin not going to become currency because in the foreseeable future we still prefer US dollar than Bitcoin when we're spending. Yeah, and nobody want to spend Bitcoin, especially in Western country, because they need to pay tax. Yeah, when they spend their Bitcoin, they need to pay. If I'm not wrong, it's up to 45, or maybe some percentage around there. They need to pay up to 45% capital gains tax. Yeah, and it's going to increase in the next year in US. Yeah, so who are going to spend Bitcoin? We don't know. Yeah, why don't you spend US dollar, and then you don't need to pay the tax? Yeah, and Bitcoin can fail to become a currency, but success to become the digital gold. And and gold fail to become a currency. This is something we know. Yeah, because you couldn't use gold to buy things. It's very, very difficult. But you can use gold to store value. Yeah, and gold is money. This is undeniable fact. But gold is not currency. The gold is money. And what Bitcoin want to become? Bitcoin want to become the e-money. Yeah, Bitcoin don't necessarily need to become a currency. So this is a wrong this is a wrong of this analogy. Yeah. So yeah,
Mm.
so you can move on. You can move on to your next one.
Yeah.
The
But
second part.
I was quite interested for this thing because I feel like it is um quite strange that we kind of invented cryptocurrency and then um and comparing to gold, I think if you want to make it perfect, isn't that cryptocurrency um need to need to be served as the the E, just now you say E what, ego or what?
Yeah, digital gold, is it?
Digital gold, and also at the same time being used uh commonly uh for our daily transaction.
Uh, can
Because
you
I
repeat
feel
your
like
question? Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
we didn't use it for daily transaction, we only use it like the goal, we can keep the value, um and then it seems like it was not so uh perfect. It wasn't so
Not
uh
useful, but is
yeah,
it
yeah,
something
yeah,
what? No.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. If you look at the characteristic of money,
Mm,
or we should say the function of money. The first one is store of value. The second is medium of exchange. The third one is you can say is deferred payment, but some people ignore that because they think it's the same as the medium of exchange. So the last one is a unit of account. Yeah, but in traditional economics, there's there's four functions, which is like what I mentioned just now.
mm,
Mm. Store of value, medium of exchange, deferred payments, and also the last one is unit of account. Now US dollar is the most successful unit of account. Yeah, but US dollar feel to become the vehicle for store of value. Everyone agree that. Yeah, everyone will agree that. Mm, yeah, and medium exchange. Yeah, US dollar did very great, just
mm,
like some just like other other country currency.
yeah.
Yeah, other fiat currency. Okay, so which one had a huge market? Medium exchange, store of value, actually store of value. Yeah, because we got so much money and we don't know where to store. And when we get the money, when the rich guys get the money, what they do? They buy property, and then they buy technology stock, they buy value stock, they buy all the stock you can find. They buy commodity, they buy gold, they buy silver. Mm. They buy the lumber, timber, copper. They buy the oil. Mm. They buy a lot of things. They just don't want to hold the cash. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even maybe some of them don't even want to hold the bonds because the yield that bond can give them is so little. And in Europe, this is negative interest rate. So you save money in a bank, the bank
Mm,
will deduct you the money. So
mm,
yeah, why you want to save money in that bank?
mm.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you know what is the market space for store of value purpose? It's it's 100 trillion. This is the market. And what's the market space for medium exchange? Not much. Maybe at most five trillion. Yeah,
Oh.
because if you look at the current infrastructure, medium exchange, many people and many business, many country, many corporation already do it very well. Yeah. For example, like Visa, like
Mm,
MasterCard, like Western Union,
yep.
and maybe the wire transfer.
Mm,
Yeah. So some PayPal, yeah, some of them already did it very very great. Mm. Yeah. And this is not what Bitcoin want to solve in the first place. And there are many cryptocurrency try to become very powerful in terms of the medium of exchange, but most of them, and I should say all of them fail. Yeah, all of them fail. And the first one is you can see the 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 first not the first but the most popular cryptocurrency target themselves want to replace the current traditional medium of exchange system is the XRP. I call it a shitcoin because this is controlled by a centralized organization. Yeah, and it is just another PayPal. It's just another Visa. It's just another Mastercard. Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of things need to learn in cryptocurrency. So maybe we need to go back to our main topic today.
Yeah. 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 Actually, when you talk about the full function of uh the currency, the money, yeah, I think yeah, it's already a very open-minded insight for me already. The store of value and medium of exchange,
And I
and
believe I told you this before, right?
yeah, but I didn't. I kind of we haven't combined these two topics together, right?
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency and these four.
Mm.
Yeah, and also you highlight the market space, the market size of store of value and medium of exchange. Yeah. Yeah. You give out the number. Only then I knew that the market difference, the market size difference is so huge.
And one another thing is, do you know what is the market share of the cryptocurrencies that to uh, try to achieve and try to target the store of value? What is the market share between the cryptocurrency? For Bitcoin, Bitcoin take 90, if I'm not wrong, it's 98 or 99, maybe now it's 99% of market share. And the second one is a Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, and the third one maybe it's BSV. Yeah, something like the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision BSV. And the rest one I can't remember. So the Bitcoin take 90. I certainly sure that is more than 97%. Yeah, if you look at the market share. You add up all their market capitalization and then you divide it by their share. Yeah, Bitcoin take more than 97%. No one able to fight with Bitcoin. And
Yeah.
if you ask a person who already dive in the cryptocurrency a lot of years, if you ask them, if there's only one coin you are able to hold more than 10 years and you couldn't withdraw it within this period, what is the coin you want to hold? I think at least 80% of people will say Bitcoin. At least more than 80% of people will say Bitcoin. Yeah, even though they think maybe there's other coin, the performance will better than Bitcoin. Yeah, but there's no one cryptocurrency can be more safer than Bitcoin. Yeah, and some people say Bitcoin is old tech. You see the transaction speed is so low. It's only 7 transactions per second. Look at Visa, few 100,000 per second. Look at PayPal, few 100,000 per second. Yeah, but does it matter if you target about the store of value? You want to make the system very robust. Yeah, and you want to make it very difficult to hack, quote unquote hack. Technically, it's difficult to do double spending. So you want to reduce the probability of failure in the system. Yeah, so there's something you need to sacrifice. And the sacrificing is actually the features of another thing, which is a security. And there's no cryptocurrency, there's no blockchain. And here I should say blockchain. There's no blockchain. Is more secure. Is secure than Bitcoin. None of them achieve the security of Bitcoin 50%. Yeah. Even the Ethereum. And where you can check the hash rate. Yeah, the hash rate of Bitcoin. Yeah. Is, if I give you an amount.
Okay.
And also there's no system. Yeah, there's no system in the world. In the cyberspace, there's no one system, the security able to beat the Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay, if I check hash rate of Bitcoin. Okay, I simply click one, and another I click hash rate of Ethereum. And something you need to know is Ethereum on Ethereum is the second largest is the second largest blockchain that owns. Let me rephrase. Ethereum is the second largest blockchain in terms of hash rate. So I mentioned it's in terms of hash rate. Yeah, of course, Ethereum is also the second largest cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization. Yeah, but
Okay.
here I mentioned about the hash rate. Yeah.
Comparing the first and the second, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And okay, you can see for Bitcoin is 118.21 million total hash rate. Yeah, this is T. This T is what this T stand for is similar to the trillion.
Oh.
Yeah, it's similar to the trillion. So that means you got 990 or you got 12 0. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because we will compare using the same unit, right? With Ethereum.
Yeah. And here, okay, if you click the Y chart website, and this is the same measurement. Yeah, because last time I used a blockchain, www.blockchain.com, and it used different measurement.
Oh, I see.
But now if you click into the website is ychart.com. Yeah, and okay, for Bitcoin is 118.21 million. Yeah, you need to see there's a million behind. There's an M behind. Yeah, and Ethereum, how much? 653.9 total hash rate. And Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is 118.21 million total hash rate. You know what's the difference? This is a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the second largest compared to the first one. You need to know, yeah, what is the gaps? Yeah, the gap is so huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go back to main topic. All right. Yeah. Actually, I think for analogy, they are we can be discuss this thing standing on different perspective. For example, if you are the speaker, you are the user of analogy. You use analogy to tell other people and for your own purpose. And on the other side, on the other perspective, we got the receiver, the listener. We receive analogy, whether from other people or whether from a book, whether from some article you read. Yeah, so from these two perspectives, just now mainly I talk about the user perspective. And for receiver perspective, I think they could also go wrongs. This is something actually quite often happen on me, which sometimes when I read books or when I uh, watch videos and people use analogies or people talk to me using analogies, being the receiver, sometimes um, I may not, uh, I may not get the um, the original intention they want to convey using the analogy. For example, reading books, maybe I misunderstand some analogy. Yeah, so when these kind of things happen, also it is a situation that analogy goes wrong. Yeah, but
Mm.
again, uh, yeah, but for here it's different from people using some analogy to distort your mind purposely. At here is because the receivers maybe um, misunderstand. Yeah, it's just a pure misunderstand. So I think for here it can also be analogy goes wrong.
Mm.
Yep. And then yeah, lastly I want to uh, kind of make a conclusion about my thinking. And firstly is we need to know that we need to be aware of the use of analogy can sometimes uh, make the receiver kind of imaginative, and then because of that we misunderstand the meaning it wants to convey. This is the just now the second point I mentioned as a receiver. And second, we also need to be aware of uh, analogy is actually kind of a double-edged sword. And for here, people can use it to explain things to us uh, using analogy. And then at the same time, they can also try to explain things not to make us understand, but make us uh, confused, try to distort our mind. So this is uh, yeah, this is the second thing I would like to talk about. So these are my sharing today.
Yeah. To answer the questions, okay. My first thought about this question: what if an analogy goes wrong?
Mm,
My first thought is nothing happens. Yeah. At the of course it's a calm moment. It's a right moment. Yeah.
mm,
And but if I think I after I have a second thought, yeah, on a second thought, I think yeah, actually it's not a good thing. Yeah. And the analogy is one of the perspective that allow us to understand the thing. Yeah,
mm,
but the perspective may wrong. We may use the wrong perspective. We may use different language to look at the things. Yeah, just like a lot of example you provide, for example, the university, and we this is because we ignore some of the important things. Yeah, and also for example the COVID-19.
mm,
There is something that they try. The speaker want to highlight something and then they hide something.
mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you need to find out what the thing they hide. Yeah, which is the transmissible. Just now you or the contagious. Yeah, the
Yeah.
contagious. Yeah, and so actually just now I asked you the two silly question. I asked you the first is the definition of analogy, and the second is what what does you mean is the wrong one. And
Mm,
I think you already mentioned your answer because you answer about the intention of the speaker, and you also mentioned about something distorted.
mm,
So that at here, so from your explanation, from your definition, I already can get the answer. The first is you need to know the purpose of the analogy. Yeah. And about the distorted, you need to know what they are trying to change your mind and why they want to do that and why they want you to think in another way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that you need to understand their intentions. Yeah. And what if an analogy goes wrong? So that means you are distorted by them. Your focus has shifted. And so what's the benefit for them if if they did that? Yeah. So for example, the COVID-19 versus obesity, maybe the person want government to allocate more money, allocate more funds to obesity rather than the COVID-19, so that he can benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is a direct benefit or maybe it is indirect benefit. Yeah, we're not sure. And about the university, what's the intention? The student want to show off. If, he or she thinks he or she know a lot of things. Yeah, so this is his or her intention.
Yeah.
And in order to know whether it is a wrong analogy, it a little bit difficult and it requires accumulation because you need to know a lot of things. You need to know deep knowledge in order to spot the most important thing. Yeah. And and also to give the most critical punch to the analogy, to the point. Yeah. So it's not that easy. I should say. I would say like this, and it requires the accumulation. But there's another thing. It is more easier to do, which is you try to understand the intentions of the speaker, yeah, of the sender, of the message sender. You try to understand, and you don't need to really guess it right. You just need to know, yeah, why they want to say this and what they can benefit from this. Yeah, this is a bit like it's called a bit 阴谋论. Yeah. In English wise it's called so it is something like you think other people want to do something bad to you. Yeah. So yeah, never mind.
Yeah, something like guessing other people's intentions, right?
Yeah, but you always guess in the bad direction. You always think people want to hurt you. Yeah. But so but never mind. And you can do that in order to guess what is the quote unquote worst scenario for you. Yeah. So this is one of the way to spot the intentions. Yeah. But of course, actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether in long term it is really good for the happiness, because if you train this, if you keep using it and until it become a habit, I'm not sure whether it is good for your happiness. Yeah, because this is something like you think everyone want to hurt you.
Yeah.
And
it's a mental burden, right?
Yeah, and it is the opposite of the cognitive therapy technique. Yeah, it's just the opposite. It's just an opposite of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, and also another tips that I think this point is I get from the book written by the Li Xiaolai, and in one of his book, he mentioned about one thing: to understand a new thing, you should avoid to use analogy to explain, because if the thing is completely new, So that means there's no thing can use as an analogy to explain it perfectly. So yeah, maybe you can provide a lot of analogy. For example, Bitcoin, you can say, yeah, you compare like currency, yeah, you use an analogy, currency and Bitcoin, and later on you use gold and Bitcoin, and later that you use stock, and Bitcoin, and yeah, so you kind of mix a lot of things together, and maybe you use programming code, yeah, and Bitcoin. You try to use a lot of things,
Yeah.
to try to understand the Bitcoin, but actually none of them give you a big picture, give you the whole picture. And what is a better method is you really deep into deep. Sorry, you really dive you really dive into the sea. You really goes into the rabbit hole, and to understand the whole thing. Maybe it will spend you 20 hours. Maybe some people 5 hours, some people 10 hours. Yeah. And for average, maybe you spend 20 hours to understand the whole picture, and then you spend additional double-digit hours. So maybe add up together the hours you need to spend is maybe more than 100 hours, and then you can really understand what is Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, you can really understand the Bitcoin. And there's a lot of material in YouTube, and one of the professional, and one of the I would say this is objective. I'll say it's objective because the speaker because the lecture is on the middle, and he didn't prefer you to own Bitcoin. He also didn't prefer you to sell Bitcoin, and he's the current chairman of SEC. Yeah, SEC in US. Yeah, and of course, by standing on his role, the chairman of SEC, he actually need to discourage you to own Bitcoin. Yeah, and but standing from the personal perspective, and he say, I actually don't actually not discourage you to buy Bitcoin, but because of my role, I need to do that. And and there's a series, and actually this is a MIT, an MIT open course. And if I goes to the YouTube, and if you click blockchain, and you click MIT, I think, yeah, blockchain MIT. Yeah, so you will see the course name is blockchain and money. Yeah, there's a full series. This is really the MIT open course. Yeah, so I think this is a very good material to understand the Bitcoin, to have the brief understanding about blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, MIT lecture need to use, let me see, here got 23 series. Here got 23 series, and everyone is all of the video is more than 1 hour. Yeah, of the video is more than 1 hour, and some few of them more than 1 hours 20 minutes. Yeah, there's a few video more than 1 hour 20 minutes, but most of them more than 1 hours. And yeah, so MIT lecture explain the blockchain, explain the Bitcoin. they need to spend more than 20. They need to spend he need to spend at least 23 hours. Yeah, to explain the thing really comprehensive. Yeah. Yeah, how can you use like 10 minutes, 20 minutes in order to understand something like this? How can you use just a single analogy to understand what is Bitcoin? It's very difficult. And I should say it's impossible. And also you have to be aware that you are not MIT lecturer. You are not the chairman of SEC. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, to make a summary of my point, what if an analogy goes wrong? The first is this is just one of the perspective, and analogies allow you to understand one thing from another perspective. Yeah, and how to deal with the person, those people want to convey the informations wrongly, or maybe convey the informations in another perspective in order to influence you. And then you need to know the solution is you need to know their intention. And how do you know their intention? Maybe we can use something like try to give you the worst scenario, and how the people what if the people successfully influence you, and what is the benefit they can get. And what they're trying to change your mind. Yeah, what is the thing they're trying to change your mind, and why they want to do that. And also the last thing is the in long term, the most important in long term, the most appropriate way to understand a thing is not through an analogy. This is something that we know. Even though analogy is powerful, but it doesn't mean the analogy should be the only thing for you to learn new things. Yeah. And to understand a new thing, the best method is really goes into the rabbit hole, dive into the sea, spend the times, and really understand new things from 0 to 1. Yeah. And also
knowledge.
What?
Is it like something accumulate knowledge in that particular area?
Yeah. And also during the process, you should try to avoid to use analogy to explain the thing, in order to let you easier to understand. Yeah, you should try to avoid the analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else?
No.
Okay, so that's all for our today conversation. How do you feel? Did you enjoy our conversations? Please tell us what you think of our conversations. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like, subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.